inability to stop crisis. I hope it will be shifted to humans, because this is an to recreate the world for their own comfort, and to do things the way the policies will be shifted to human. That is to say, they are poor people and not on God. God has done things perfect and has taught
among the crisis in implication and analysis.
Do you need to add analysis? Once you say implication, you must do analysis.
Free will. The free will is there because you just said that God created everyone out of his own free will. That God has given you the power to do what you want. Responsible for your action. So the people have to be held responsible for their action. And that's what the message that is.
To determine what or how to handle, but then we must not also throw away the belief system of the people, because if it is implication or analysis, you're analyzing a people, and that's the people you are analyzing. And they say human beings are religious beings, whether we like it or not. So these people have religious, views, and we must not throw it away while studying them, because it manifests in everything they do, in their culture, in their economy, living, whatever happened during the crisis or something. So I was just referring to what he said, that we should just hold humans responsible. We hold them responsible, but when you ask them questions, they will tell you that God had a hand in it. And you can't throw away that part also, because it's religion we're talking about.
If you tell us your recommendation, we'll be able to understand what you are even trying to do or what you have done.
So he should tell us your recommendation.
One, I said, at first, office of
Complete your work and you have to open and search for recommendation.
I said,
It's not part of
the root cause of crisis early. Number two, I said, when we should have prioritized group interest rather than personal interest. And I also said that moral responsibility should be applied to our decision.
See, I don't know whether this work should get back to the department. I think so, yes, because I'm completely lost, to be honest with you. Because the basic problem is thinking that every concept can be applied to any situation in Nigeria. You take the concept of somebody's concept of free will and determinism, you want to apply it down to avoid crisis. How does that connect? It's the connection I'm looking for. What are you bringing to the table? That God knew that this thing is going to happen, and so what? Does that contribute to scholarship? He knew it's going to happen, and it happened. God knew that we're going to be here, and we have been here, and so what?
That is a problem.
So what's the problem?
God knew
That we are here, that God knew that yesterday, He knew that we are going to be here, and we are here today. What's the problem? Is that not an exercise of God's notion of foreknowledge? That it happened, it actually happened, and we came in here today. It's an exercise of God's knowledge of foreknowledge. And so, what does that solve? What problem does that solve?
It did something to the people, I guess. I think it helped their resilience. It helped them hold on. I think, but that's not what it's doing.
I'm thinking just a way forward. Yes, way forward. I'm thinking
what we should do is to, you know, God, please. What I think we should do, if you look at his topic, you have been able to identify that he's trying to look at the implications. And that's why you should leave that analysis. If you are looking at the implications of the concept of free will and foreknowledge as postulated by Bourdieu, it will work. That will work. It means he's going to look at the implications of these two concepts in the crisis that happened in Abuja. That will work. But the moment you begin to go for analysis, it will be difficult for him to analyze. That's why the chairman is not decoding what you're saying, because he's getting him look, he's trying to ask how will one analyze this crisis vis-a-vis the concept of foreknowledge and free will. So let him just look at the implications and it will work. And then all we need to do as we are going forward will be tidying the other areas. Even though I have my problem with even the year of the crisis, which is something that is not difficult for him to correct. I don't think if that year, I don't think if it's 1999, that crisis actually 2001. So those are things he will tidy up. But here, if we can look at implications, will help, because if it is implication, we're looking at the implication of foreknowledge and free will in line or in respect to the crisis that happened in Abuja. It will now be left for him to do those, because the moment you're doing a research, you analyze is given, but remove analysis and look at the implications.
Wait, if you look at it in terms of, because if you look at this methodology,
Yes.
there is a question mark there. What exactly? Can you tell us a bit about your methodology? Yes. What were your sources of data? What kind of data did you
Interview people.
interview? Just interview.
Have you asked him for the problem that he's trying to solve?
No, the place of free will now in the
That is where we started from, because we can't define the problem. We can't define the problem for this work. That is why we have an issue.
The problem
Yes.
is just that the candidate, because we are here to guide them. If you ask me, the problem of this study
Yes.
is because the moment you go to the topic,
Yes.
the lack of the poor application or poor interrogation or lack of academic materials on the issue of free will and foreknowledge and free will as postulated by Bourdieu. If you develop something along that line,
That is not the problem.
no, I'm not saying it's the problem. If you develop
What
something
is the
along
problem
that line,
that drove him into the work? The work is
We have to balance
I have a question. Now we're clear that you are looking at foreknowledge and free will. My question now is we're looking at the one right. Now, is it the sole preserve of motion? I mean the discussion of foreknowledge and free will. Because if you're going to do your literature review, you are also going to bring in people who have worked on this concept. So I begin to wonder, because if your emphasis is on the crisis, then of course you will be dealing with the crisis and bringing about people who have the same concept. So the idea of bringing motion, it doesn't look like it's the full preserve of motion, the discussion of the divine knowledge and free will.
Yes, Prof.
So if you remove that bit, and we are working on this subject, and looking at the idea of foreknowledge and free will, it will help you to be able to expatiate the horizon the outspread, because you'll be talking about people who have this same concept in your literature review. So I think it is the title that's our problem. We already have a focus on the crisis.
The truth is that there is no way this work will make sense, if, because from what I see, just as Prof is saying, the fact that you mentioned Bourdieu here in the topic, you are looking at whatever crisis happened in Abuja through the lens of what, that is what you are doing, and there's no way you can do that effectively if you don't analyze the work. What exactly were the secondary data you are looking at here, that you analyze vis-a-vis what happened. Because it's not enough to say divine knowledge and free will. What did virtue say? What are the things we want to look at? Where is the data that is supporting the views that you are holding, or the implication of what Boschus, of the concept Boschus proposes in upon that we are making. That is what because you can't make these implications. You can't.
The text is
the cross of the wall.
that's the text.
Please ask him.
Okay,
Have to know how to spread.
Why are you doing this?
Yes.
Why are you carrying on this for?
so I think we can move on. Supervisor has agreed that the work should get back to the department and tidy up. I'm there, he represents. He has to represent. But you see the difficulty that we have now. We're trying to move forward. No. Wisdom. Trying wisdom. Number 4. When are we taking online? Do we have
All right, continue. 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wisdom Vincent Toyin. My topic is entitled Judge Beckley's Empiricism, Implications for Extrasensory Perception. Extrasensory perception, as the name implies, means having an extra knowledge of an object or an event outside the already established human. And that we already know that the traditional human senses are sense of sight, sense of smell, sense of touch, and all of that. So extrasensory perception is widely known and said as the sixth sense or the sixth sight, otherwise also refers to as the third eye. It occurs to us as individuals in our day-to-day lives, and we can't deny the fact that we can't deny the reality of such occurrence in our lives. And it occurs in different dimensions, and I now list the types of extrasensory perceptions or ideas that occur to us. The first is clairvoyance. We also have telepathy and parapsychology. Now, there is a fundamental underlying problem with extrasensory perception and ideas. And the point is that people begin to argue. Traditional epistemology certain truths. What is truth and what is not truth? The experience. Philosophers have struggled to understand the basis of human knowledge. Through too many arguments from different schools of thought. Now, right from the ancient period, spanning through the Aristotelian area, there has been a epistemological tradition that is truly centered on human experience. And this is indeed of empiricism. Now, the arguments running from different schools of thought, the skeptics who will tell you that there is no true knowledge. The rationalists will tell you that human knowledge is coming through innately. That's the reason, and that if one could have one and another one, that was sum of two. Now, the measures of the empiricist is strictly as a reaction to the rationalist notion and human knowledge is gotten through experience and sense experience. We must have to experience them. Going further, looking at Nigeria amongst other developed nations, you agree with me that those nations suffer of experiencing lack of scientific knowledge, and this has resulted to the reliance on myth and religion. Now, also tracing the history of knowledge as presented by August Comte, you realize that August Comte presented three stages of knowledge. The first is called a theological stage.
Methodology, please.
The first is called the theological primitive stage, followed by the philosophical metaphysical stage, and the last stage is called the scientific technological stage. Now, going by these nations' inability to acquire or have access to this technology because they are left no option than to rely on myth and religion. Now, how being motivated?
Please, can you tell us the methodology? What method did you use in this work?
Okay, the method
Tell us the findings, the recommendation.
Okay, the method is sexual analysis. Of course, we have to look at Beckley's work, two of Beckley's work. Then, finally, the basis or the plus of all of this is that now, how do we have extrasensory knowledge and all that? Now, Beckley introduced what we call the regulatory principle. The regulatory principle has the ability to, that is an establishment of the divine perceiver. I'm sure that's closely related to just what we were discussing most recently. That the divine perceiver has the ability to perceive things constantly and consistently. Now, in Beckley's philosophy, he established what we call the finite mind and infinite mind. And that the finite mind is the finite mind of that of man that perceives things temporarily, while the infinite perceives things infinitely. You know, now having established Beckley's notion and principles of all of this, how does extrasensory perception occur? And it's very simple. At every perception of the temporal mind is a perception into the minds of the infinite. And believing that the infinite has already perceived it, just as one brother was asking most recently, that how do we even know? And that before we gathered there, God must have perceived this. And how is it happening? Because of Beckley's notion of regulatory principle, that the finite mind has the ability, the infinite mind rather has the ability to perceive things, whether we as humans are perceiving or not. So, how do we connect that? How do humans have those extrasensory knowledge? It is at a point which man will have a glass into the mind for the infinite, because the infinite must have perceived them already. So at that point, because we as humans as finite perceivers, we perceive things sensorily and temporally. And at the point which we gain those knowledge extrasensorily, that's where the extra knowledge is coming from. Thank you.
Our next topic. Topic is okay. Abstract.
The abstract, there is nothing at all with respect to how you went about and getting your findings. Yes, no method, no
Including method.
say using the quotation method.
What's the content of the qualitative method?
Sorry, let the abstract also flow appropriately. some of the items, especially if you are doing, you see the findings already. So follow.
As an order.
There's an order.
Yeah.
Do you know the
My
sequence?
job.
Do you know the sequence of the good abstract?
When you check, it looks like a lot of them followed this same way, of laying down the abstract, which is not correct. That's why some people have been discovering that statement of the problem is not infused, but they will tell us this to do. So we need to also let them know how to structure it.
Okay, please let them know from now on. Let's give them the right format of that abstract. First of all, anyway, I think it differs. Some people will talk about background to the study based on. So what do you think we should be adopting?
No, you first and foremost.
Right for findings to come better.
No, you should have at least. There should be your statement of the problem. There should be your aim of the study. You may not.
So let's take it down. Let's take it one out.
The background will be captured in that statement of the problem.
Okay, background should be captured in the statement of the problem. Others who are here, please, PhD candidates, listen carefully.
Then the aim of the study.
The essential elements of an abstract.
It's not that you're going to write aim. No, but it
That's
should
a
be,
sequence.
what you're saying is not that you're going to say that the statement of the problem is this.
Yes.
All of these items
You
should
will
be
capture it. Those who are here, PhD students, are you listening?
Yes,
Those who are not presenting, we want a faculty format now on abstract. And there should be a sequence. One, statement of the problem. Two, what?
Statement of the problem.
No, we said statement of the problem. Two, aim.
Then method.
Three, method.
of the study.
Four,
It should be not even method finding. Sometimes it's only framework. Methodology.
like methodology.
Capture
Your method as method. Then five, findings.
recommendations. You will not bother about conclusion.
Recommendation. One house, please. You know they are taking down. Let's get there. Let's guide them. One, statement of the problem. Okay, the statement and the background will be together.
Okay, we start with the background.
Yeah, background and statement will be together. Infuse it.
Good.
Two,
The aim.
the aim. Three,
Methodology.
method. Four,
Findings.
findings. Five,
Recommendations.
recommendations. Six. Okay. So that order. We want to see what?
Objective.
I hope you
No,
know.
we don't do objective.
No objectives.
No objective.
Aim will capture.
Yeah, the aim will capture. So okay. So let's go.
So this last sentence, your last sentence under your abstract says it therefore recommends Berkeley's materialism should also be adopted as a guide to scientific work, as it stands to propel scientific discovery of new areas. So there's something missing.
Missing there, yeah. As a guide to what? Scientific what?
As a guide to work.
The last sentence. Yeah. Yeah.
Scientific discovery of new areas of knowledge.
And there's no need for also. This is just your the only recommendation you're saying. So you don't need also.
Then even the we, sorry, on that same paragraph, the we on the second line, say though we do have, it's not accepted in research. You see the we there, though we do have some experience as physical sensitive, etc. You know, you can say though one or though people or though, you know, don't just remove the we.
What line?
Second line, sir.
Second line. Yeah, second line. Good. I do have it. Okay, background. Okay. Statement of the problem. The problem. Okay. Aim and objectives.
Yes.
Aim and objectives.
Now, if you look at, you have 3 objectives
Yes.
only. You have 4 here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You have the main one.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, I wanted to share
and let him
some
lead us.
observation,
He has the main one.
about I need a clarification. We have talked about the abstract and we are on the background. What I see from the work, reading through them, is that I don't know whether it was just only desk work that you did. I mean, just library work, looking at this George Berkeley's empiricism and the implication for extrasensory perception. Yes, extrasensory perception in your quantitative analysis or going to the quantitative research. Did you reach out, do any interview or what, or you just read people's work about extrasensory perception and try to explain it with George Berkeley's empiricism? What did you do?
Yes, like I said, I did a lot of research on this. But extrasensory perception, I don't need to ask somebody, it happens to us in our daily lives. And a clear example of that is when you see or refers to himself as a prophet or his fear. So, it occurs, it happens when someone somebody who tell you about the future, because that's somebody most recently. Let me give you an example, sir. I stumbled on a particular video on the internet. A particular governor wants to go for a second time. What did he do? He wanted to know the future. He had to invite the DBA, what they call SMO and all that is referred to as the third eye, as a Sanskrit is. Invited him in his office or whatever it is. He had his state cabinets together. What did he do? Can you please speak to the gods? Consult the gods. Then I want to know the future if I'm going to win the election or not. Suddenly, the man was see or whatever. These manifestations are not that told you that we're going to win. So now what we are waiting for now is a confirmation of those things the man has said.
Where is it in your work? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Where is it in this?
See, this, sir, chair, sir.
Yes.
In fact, the lecturer was trying to find out if any form of stand, so that I've been sitting for a while, to find out if any field work per se or some form of interaction was done. When you read through the work, all his arguments are all literature. There are no maybe field work. He said you don't need to ask any person. You can ask somebody.
Let me save you. That's how they tweet.
Let me I would.
I've argued this
With
when I came
this
here.
library, we don't, I say qualitative, you don't say quantitative. So it's non-doctrinal.
No, it's not. No, in qualitative work, you can still do field work.
Yes.
I'm not saying it must. I'm not saying
it was
it must.
doctrinal. It was doctrinal. I don't.
Okay. So, sir, Prof, sir, I'm happy the supervisor is here. I want to be enlightened, sir, Prof. When you talk of extrasensory perception, each and every one of us, as I already talked about dreams, visions, and all of that. Now, in this book, as I read through, there are no typical examples, whether from scholarly works, that try to describe the implications of this empiricism in this particular way. Good example. Let me just give an experience. Somebody was sharing a testimony yesterday. I was in a religious program, and the person said that about when he was in his final year, he had a dream, and that his pastor that baptized him when he was just gave his life to Christ came showing up in the dream when he was crying, and the pastor now said, "Don't weep anymore, don't cry, stand up." So he stood up. He graduated from the seminary, and after graduation, he got an invitation from Akwa Ibom State to come and do a revival for 1 week. He did the revival and left. After 2 years, that congregation in Akwa Ibom now called him and said, "Come and be our pastor." The pastor that he saw in the dream about 4 years is the pastor of the church that planted that church in Akwa Ibom, but that pastor is in Port Harcourt. So now it was when he arrived at that church in Akwa Ibom that he now got to know that the church, the pastor that planted that church in Akwa Ibom is the one that he saw in the dream about 4 years ago. So by his own testimony, he's now saying that, oh, this thing I saw in the dream about 4 or 5 years ago, it has come for that person. That was a dream that he dreamt. He never even knew the interpretation until in this work, I was looking for a situation, maybe an example or something that has happened in the past when you talk about extrasensory perception, either telepathy or dream or whatever, in books or that scholars have written, or an experience that one could now analyze using George Berkeley's empiricism. So, but that is not in the word. That's why I was just asking, is it just desk work only and not going to the field? I need education. That's just that.
Well, as you said, Professor, and then I think you have asked right. The point is this, that someone dreamt, and then tomorrow it came to pass. It doesn't really mean that, it can be a coincidence. It's not as if it is factor. But what we are looking at in this world is that when we talk about empiricism, we ask ourselves, when we look at the empiricism and then the rationalists are the ones that told us that you can acquire knowledge through mathematical reasoning. In other words, you need to be able to rationalize issues to be able to get that. Like 1 + 1 is equal to 2, 5 minus 4 could be 1 or could be 3. If you say it is 3, you work it out. In other words, you are saying that the square of 5 is 25, the square of 3 is or 4 is 16. 25 minus 16 will give you what? Will give you 9. The square of 9 will be 3. Or whichever way. In other words, you're working it out. But at the point of empiricism, we are saying that it is a system where experience actually justifies what is. And this experience we are talking about could be individual experiences, right?
Yeah.
So what you have experienced might not be the same thing as I have experienced. So there will be a point of correlation between what you have done and what has actually happened as a matter of fact. So what we are interested here is trying to apply Berkeley's understanding and see whether we can really interpret what we call extrasensory expressions and the knowledge.
So what
That's in isolation. That extrasensory perception, what I want to understand is that
where is it applied?
where is it happening?
Where is it applied?
Yes, sir.
You see, in philosophy, what we're actually looking at is how to find a basis for such experience, because it's doubtful. Like the story you told here, you may believe it, you may not believe it. You weren't there. Yeah. Now, we are looking at from empiricism, when something is empirical, we take it to be a fact. You understand? It could be verified. Now, we are looking at, from that point of view, if we can find a basis for us to trust in such stories that has been told us. You understand? That's exactly what he's doing, using that Berkeley, an empiricist. Is there anyhow we can find a basis that to trust such stories? Do you understand? Because actually, scientifically, empirically, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
you want to say anything, I have to be quiet. So let's look at
What else are you doing? Remove this critical.
yes,
Let it just run straight.
is to analyze.
What I have here is just implications for extrasensory, no its implication.
We're looking at the aim. So the aim of this study is to analyze Berkeley's empiricism and its implication to extrasensory perception. Story finish.
Implications
Four.
for extrasensory perception.
That is it.
So,
Then the objectives. I think something is missing.
yes, I think say we asked for 4 objectives, right?
Yes,
Please, can you give me the
Why
fourth
did you
one?
borrow the other one?
Okay. Here it said number 3, determine the extent to which his immaterialism provides a better means of accounting for ESP. That's it. Then there's a 4th one here, which is not
So
really.
bring in the 4th one.
He said that propose further improvements on.
So let's hear
Maybe
one.
the third one.
Let's hear it.
Okay, one he said expose Berkeley's. Then the second one, analyze his views on
Okay.
materialism.
It's missing.
Okay.
So the fourth one.
So
Candidate.
yes.
The fourth one.
Okay.
Fourth objective.
Yes, sir.
I'm not seeing it in the work. I need help. This fourth one. Propose further improvements on Berkeley's immaterialism for perfecting knowledge through transsensory perception. Where is it in the work? Extrasensory, yes. That is in the work itself. No, what I mean, when you read through this work.
Are we okay?
Okay, method.
I think we should introduce the approach before going into this textual analysis.
Oh, yes.
Either identify if it's qualitative or quantitative
Yes,
first
correct. That's the method.
before moving
The
further.
method is either qualitative or quantitative. Then you can now simplify or explain further what you want to do.
It doesn't even need this bullet point 1, 2, and 3. I don't know whether it needs it. The primary materials, once you just
So
identify
restructure,
the
let him
primary
restructure
materials.
the method.
It doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it. Please restructure the method.
The expunge and the future,
And
the method to be adopted. And ESP are to be praised.
Okay. Scope.
Same thing with your scope, the first one. You also use
Why do you put the apostrophe with centers?
the second line.
Then your research centers with apostrophe. So that would be what now? Centers with apostrophe. So remove it, please. Scope. Significant. The study. Your bullet number 3 and 4, they come under what? Number 3 and 4.
Before you go to number 3 and 4.
Yes.
I have problems with number 2.
Okay.
I'm okay with number 1. I have problem with number 2 because when you are talking about significance of the study, it is not the man's not listening. I want to come. So you say at the practical level, this study highlights. I think the significance should be in scholarship and then in the industry, except this thing is not applied in the philosophy. Is there any philosophical industry? Don't we have? So when you are looking at the significance of the study, how important that study is, not just to also to the end users. But what you just have here, even though I'm just trying to wonder how, at the practical level in philosophy, how it works practically. If it is theater, I know you have practice. If it is fine art, I know it's possible. So I'm worried that you should rephrase this thing to capture the benefits or the importance of this study to the any industry that.
Well, you already said it, that the effects of ESP on our lives. What are these effects? So qualify it. Give flesh to it. Okay? Then the number three and 4. Because you already said in theory and practice. So you brought in the other one. Please, okay, remove that one. Literature review, conceptual framework. Empiricism, extrasensory perception.
So now, if you go to the theoretical level, the concept he has reviewed. So can you help us explain how empiricism can function as a concept?
As a concept, looking at the nature of this work, because the author of the Center has this philosophy in empiricism.
Sorry?
I said looking at the nature of this work, the author, Dr. Gec, is one of the leading and founding fathers of empiricism. So there is no way empiricism cannot show.
No, is empiricism a theory?
Yes.
And also a concept?
Yes.
So explain how you can use empiricism as a concept. Because from your concept, you are giving us the etymology of the word. That's what you have here. It's from the Greek word. Are you with your work at all? So I want you to explain, help me. Because what you have written here has not been able to explain.
Wait, did you review technical theory?
Yes, as a theory.
You review, there will be no need to talk about the concepts.
Because that is why, that's what we're saying.
Ordinarily, at the conceptual framework stage, the views of Berkeley must deliberately. You generally just define the term, probably etymology, to dictionary, and one or two views of other scholars. Because by at the chapter 3, the Berkeley will speak. Berkeley will speak throughout chapter 3. So, and speaking, he has to also begin from what he sees empiricism to be, down to extrasensory perception. You understand? Yeah. So, in philosophy, empiricism itself is a school of thought, which others have contributed to. So, it can be used as a theoretical framework to explain extrasensory perception.
Just that's what we're saying now. You can play Berkeley.
Yeah, exactly.
Because your chapter 3, you are not going to do the proper independent interpretation of Berkeley. But in this theoretical framework, take it as a theory, a general theory, general concept, without mentioning Berkeley. Because it was not the only empiricism. We have Locke, we have Berkeley, and we have Hume. So take it collectively as a concept. I mean, as a theory.
At this conceptual framework,
I guess what did I miss? I hope that's what you did.
What you should be talking about more is what have people said?
Yes.
What have other people said about Berkeley's own views about this thing, and basically about empiricism? Yes, but Berkeley will not come in just as prophecy.
That would be in the literature.
That would be, yes, it's the literature review. It's the literature review.
Again, let's clarify something for those who are not presenting. When you do a conceptual framework, let's get it fast. Some people will tell you that, oh, what you are doing is just definition. You are defining the concept. derivation of the word and you leave it there. I said no, it's a review. Take the concept, analyze the concept basically from the ecological definition, then tell us what others have said about that concept. It's not just defining. Definition of concept is what they do at undergraduate level. If you do that at the PhD level, then you have not done anything. It's a complete review. Tell us about that concept. So that's what it is, please. For others.
For clarification, what Professor Ishmael let you discuss?
Don't worry.
He did quite a lot of work. Framework. How you push it cannot be duplicated
In chapter 2,
like in chapter 2 now, because in chapter 3
in the theoretical framework,
yeah.
it is a school of thought we are dealing with, or schools of thought. You are going to, it's not just empiricism. There are other schools of thought that at the end of the day, you are going to justify why this school of thought or a hybrid of school of thought are the basis for your work, your foundation. A theoretical framework is like a building, a foundation of a building. You are building an upstairs, you are building a bungalow, you first do the foundation. So where the foundation is not strong enough, the building cannot stand on it. So theoretical framework supports your work. So while empiricism is a school of thought, so you do an analysis of how this school started, what they believe in, what they stand for, so that when you are arguing why it will be a grounds for your work, you can see it clearly. You understand? Yeah. So in chapter 3, as we do in our department, I don't know what happens in other departments. That is where we do the actual explication of this subject that is under focus. So if empiricism in this case, the subject matter is George Berkeley's empiricism and implications for extrasensory perception. That is when George Berkeley will speak. And then you now tell us how what he has said affects extrasensory perception. That implication is now your work, independent of George Berkeley. You are now applying Berkeley's law. But if I want to know what Berkeley says about empiricism, I should go to your chapter 3. Once I read it, I don't need to look for his books. You understand? At that level, you don't cite another authority. Every authority that said anything about your topic, that's why you did a review. And that's what gave you the opportunity to see a lacuna that your work can conveniently come in.
That's properly done.
You understand?
Properly done, yes.
You can still bring 1 or 2 secondary authors to support what they claim. So that your interpretation agrees with what others have said about it. Because you are doing your own interpretation, you must make your 1 or 2. You cannot be entirely all of Berkeley. Your chapter 3 cannot be analysis of just Berkeley. You need 1 or 2 to support. And definitely that can happen.
That's normally easy at the point of discussion. Okay,
well, why would you just react to what they say? There has to be just Berkeley alone. Imagine what how you've been quoting Berkeley all chapter 3 without support from secondary scholars.
No, but those secondary scholars will be talking about Berkeley.
Yeah, we were talking about Berkeley.
In a way, you will be repeating yourself what you already said in the lecture.
And you will not be working all over.
In a way.
Because your interpretation has to tally with somebody else's interpretation.
You have evaluation. You have critique to do.
No, what I'm
When
saying
you
is that
speak.
what I'm saying that
In
Let's
that your
progress.
chapter
Let's
3.
progress. Let's progress. Let's progress.
Okay, let's go on.
Ross,
Yes.
you reviewed only 2 concepts, which have been reduced to 1.
Those are the major things now.
No, is it only 2 concepts you reviewed?
In the main work,
In the main work, how many concepts did you review?
in the main work.
Racism and extrasensory things.
Just 2 concepts.
I don't think it's enough.
Which are the things there?
Now we have removed one.
No, which are the things there that needs
Perception.
extrasensory
Perception,
perception?
yes.
That concept must be explained.
Yes, it
It's
is.
explained now.
Yes, it's explained.
It's
It's explained in the work.
The extra
Extrasensory
Yes.
perception there.
It's
Look at
explained.
it. Even in my slide,
I think those are the basics.
these are the major things.
Empiricism, extrasensory perception.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Are you understanding? Are you with me at all?
yes,
Did you say you reviewed 3? You say you have 3 there.
How will I say it? Yes.
Is it under
How
examination?
will I say it? I said these
No,
are the
because-
two major things.
No, they are not 2 now, they are 3.
Where are the things?
So it's the
They are joining-
extrasensory perception is one word.
It's from and it was.
Have you not seen it abbreviated as ESP?
Yes.
ESP.
They are nothing related to it.
It's well explained in the concept. Yeah.
Come and maybe
Summary
give
of
that
literature review
to-
and
They are
gap.
not good philosophy.
Summary and gap in literature. Let's look at that.
I saw them writing gaps. How many gaps are you filling?
Please, I don't know whether you have your work, page 87. Page 87 of your main work, not the main work. That's your main work. I think it's a typo or something. I don't. You have Berkeley's. It's a very long paragraph. Here you have 2.3 summary of literature to gaps in literature. I will read from the last 2 sentences down at the bottom, and so that you get it. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you count 4 lines from the bottom of that page.
He's not having his work.
Okay.
You get make your correction.
Okay, I'll return it back to you. I've made the correction.
We're still having that same problem. If you go for it, he's also reviewing. There's also another review of extrasensory perception. If you go to page 15.
I thought we go to have
No, we're looking at the PowerPoint now. It's now also a theory. I don't know whether it's coming out here as a theory or a review. I think this thing should be moved. Whenever you are reviewing on extrasensory perception, if it is not a theory, it should be at a conceptual review. That's my thinking. Provided it's not a theory, because after conceptual review, you're going to the theoretical framework. And then you go to empirical, which people say you don't use empirical, you are using related review or related
Review literature.
which we have literature review and related so the ones you are reviewing in literature review, are they not related? Will you relate to this one that is not related? Are you going to review what is not related to the work? The truth of the matter is empirical, it's empirical. No matter the context you want to use. Because the context you are using, the content of what you are titling related review is empirical.
But are you aware that I've told you this informally that
You are not in any formal
this okay, this let us go home with the fact that we are all trying to interpret one knowledge, but using different approaches. According to our diverse disciplines. Everything amounts to the same thing. We are pursuing the same knowledge. Trying to achieve individual knowledge. But this one is speaking from the philosophical jargon this one is Igbo legal jargon, this one is
So it's
Abbreviated
related
jargon.
literature
So
must be related.
they are related.
Sir,
So if you choose to
literature
call it
wait now.
empirical, and another chooses to call it related literature or whatever,
I will have been,
it's
I will have
supposed
been,
to be same.
I will be happier
Yes.
if what you are titling related review does not imply empirical review. I will just say no problem, that is your coinage. But what you are titling related review aligns with the graduate school format that calls it empirical review. So why don't you just leave it as empirical review and move on? Why must you give it another format for most disciplines is even faulty? Format discipline is inappropriate, very inappropriate, and that battle is on. In our discipline, we have been able to convince them. This is, if I look at our method of the study, 1, not in chapter 3, and I'm sure this format will crumble later on. It's almost crumbling. It will.
I have been disillusioned, but this idea of having the methodology always in chapter 3, you'll find out that it doesn't really hold, because the chapter one is the proposal. It tells everything about the work. So your methodology should actually be in chapter 1, at least a synopsis of it.
I agree with you.
But just like Prof
The
said,
irony now is that the children of the mother want to teach the mother. All of you came out of the womb of philosophy, and philosophy has proposed, and you're opposing it.
So you wasted time to propose. Perception.
what is your
Write it
suggestion?
out, write it
So what
out.
I'm saying should be moved to where conceptual review.
Noted,
It's already there.
noted, noted.
It's here already, and we are seeing it again in another place.
In empirical is there.
What is it noting? What is it?
Just review works on Berkeley.
Review works on that.
Yeah, just review works on Berkeley. Move this other one to conceptual review.
See, review work on your review
On your
research
author.
work, on your topic.
On your author. Basically on your author.
That is how you get the gap. You are trying to say that all these people have said this, but they have not seen from this perspective.
That is correct. So remove that one. That page 15. Remove it entirely. No, we'll strike it out.
To be moved.
Yeah, move it to conceptual framework.
So your format, summary of literature.
Summary of what is that one?
Summarize the literature. Is it part of the philosophy?
That's not
Summary
what we
of
said.
literature from gap and information.
Summary of literature review. That's the title. Not, but you have it as a main head in there. So, summary of literature review. Why did you put in a summary of literature? All right.
Let me be sure, because you have a very peculiar format. Your format is unique.
Delete summary of literature. Then we'll go over quickly to recommendations.
Don't forget that the gaps you have here, some of them cannot stand as gaps. Sir,
That is not
22.
Huh?
Please, I can just go to page 22.
22.
I want to understand summary of findings, not just some best.
Summary of findings.
Summary of findings.
Something like that.
Okay, that is it. Yeah. Then it will now bring me to the question I want to ask. When you say summary of findings, is it going to be generated from your study or from the scholar or the work you are studying? For example, if I say summary of findings regarding what I have done, yes, those summary of findings, are they going to be drawn from the author I have studied or from the entire study I have done from chapters 1 to 5, as the case may be? Good, but what you have here is still from Becky. I don't know whether you have observed that.
Yes,
No, not the entire work.
your
Understand, yes.
your independent understanding of
What you have done.
Good.
Take note.
No, let him take note well. Oh.
Take note. I hope you are taking note. What did they say?
That the summary of findings has to do with what I've been able to get from the entire work, and it shouldn't be just only for technique, independently from what
Not the aim of Beckley.
Not Beckley's aim.
Not his aim.
not what he says,
Not what he said. Like your first one now. Your the first bullet now. You say Beckley's main aim is to show. Blah blah blah. That's not Beckley.
And that problem runs to the contributions to knowledge. If you look at the recommendation, he's still talking about Beckley's. Beckley's empiricism.
But wait,
That's first bullet.
but is this not the whole, is this not the essence of this work? This work is to draw from Beckley's. Yes, that is the essence of the work, isn't it? So your findings should be based on what have we seen, what can we see with respect to extrasensory perception, looking at it from the lens of this of the Beckley. So this is the meat of the work.
So take note.
So your contributions to knowledge. That's your first sentence. You can feel it. After looking at, I don't know how you look, what you use looking at. Use lens. After looking at several commentaries on Beckley's, on Beckley, none of them. I don't know. That does not even sound as a prelude to contributions to knowledge. Are you on that page? It doesn't.
So what exactly is the contribution to knowledge?
So I started from this study here for attempts instead of this the first sentence. They are not.
You cannot attempt.
Should we did it? It should not be attempted.
You should not attempt at this point. Tell us the contributions to knowledge based on your work. So on your own, what do you think you have done? What have you achieved? What have you added to what has not been there, or to what is there?
Well, looking at the nature of extrasensory and arguments so far. It's been generally accepted that extrasensory perception basically lacks foundation.
Is what?
Lacks proofs foundation. That's proofs as it were. But then,
Who said so?
only with several authors, but like who? I don't review them.
What's your finding out? You know, it's not good to generalize. What's your at this point, you have to be specific. If you say Edum Sunday said, from what Edum Sunday is saying, you must be specific. Don't just generalize that based on the reviews I have done. And I don't think if you have done all the reviews on planet Earth, it's not possible to remove the attempts to fail. So please be specific. Go and generate contributions to knowledge.
What exactly is the body of knowledge this team has contributed to? The body of knowledge.
And that's where, like I said, that's
You are giving what is contribution? What I see is that you are giving justification to extrasensory perception. You are trying to justify extrasensory perception from the lenses of Beckley. Huh? That should be the very contribution. But you are saying that the study therefore attempts to fill in the gaps. What do you mean by that? To fill in the gaps.
Sir, if you can tidy
Tidy it up.
recommendations, you'll be able to generate some contributions to knowledge.
yes.
We cannot tidy those two to no work.
So do all of that.
Huh?
So that you come out very strongly. You want your contributions to come out very strongly. Because this is exactly what gives you the PhD. The contribution to knowledge.
That is it. And your findings.
And your findings. So what you have them, you have them there, but just make them clearer. So
They are not there.
Okay, thank you very much. The next person. Regina. Okay, thank you. 10 minutes. One house, please.
My name is Regina. I'm here to make a presentation on the topic of the second sex. When the topic talks on
Please. Yes, say that.
Are women in chains? Is it okay to the hall now?
Hold on. Let's answer the question directly. The question is simple. Are you trying to bring out the negative aspects or criticism of this person on this wall? Your answer is simple. It is part of it. That's why it's a criticism.
Now, you have to take out the impact, right? Because of what? Right? Yes, let's look at what the Prof is making a suggestion.
I should also be a critique of Simon de Beauvoir's concept of the second sex on women and then driving it with almost 10 words.
I think he's right. Yeah, that women liberation is isolated by that too long. Because the phrase is too short. Women liberation doesn't on what it's all about. I think movement. Then you are supposed to emphasize that.
Yes, in the work, I use it as a book, yes. It's a concept.
So in the time Auntie, don't use it like that. What you are using now, you are using it as a book. Forget about the concept. It's a book that you are doing the critique on.
Text, you can also mention that.
So that means you have to emphasize the second sex. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Then what about the women liberation? Will it be there? That's the
No, they critique book on women liberation.
one house. Give us your formulation now. Let's see.
No, actually, they critique.
Remove the A.
Because actually what she wrote was actually women liberation. So that word, that phrase was captured there. Women liberation.
But it's already captured from
That was
us.
it. No, you should move to the right side. Not this way it is
Supervisor, please.
by a colon.
And I also think that if we are using the second sex as a book, we should look the concept of the book. Since we are using it as a book, human
Yes. Very simple.
the second sex.
Very simple.
And the second sex
On women liberation. So you are not using on the topic. One house, please. On the topic, you are not seeing second sex as a theory or a concept. You are seeing it as a book.
As a book.
So you remove the concept. The concept.
Was this concept, is it part of the heading in that book? The topic of that book? We don't need it now. We don't need it.
If you, sorry sir, on the second sex, right? If you agree
Look
that,
at the scope.
if you agree that the second sex is referred to the book, mean that she's critiquing the book, not the concept. So we need to break them as well. So are you using it as a critique of the book or the
No, now, the second sex is the title of a book written by someone.
yeah, she's critiquing the book.
That's what she's doing.
Is that what you agree?
Yes.
No. Let's see.
The second sex